All right. Chapter 4, Post-Vietnam Era Veterans Education Assistance Program 4.1. Authority. Public Law 94-502 establishes Veteran Educational Assistance Program. Title 38 U.S. Standard Code Chapter 32 establishes the guidelines for this program. The Veterans Educational Affairs Program designated to provide educational assistance individuals entered in the armed forces after 31st of 1976. Of December, assistance individual obtaining education that might not otherwise afford. Attract equality of men and women to serve the armed forces. The Veteran Educational Affair program is voluntary contribution matching program with the soldier program for the soldier veterans initially entered in active duty entitled 1930 December 31st, 1976, before and 1st July 1985, except otherwise specified in paragraph 4 or 5 of each of the soldiers entered in the active duty during the period of the right of the enrolled the Veterans Affair of VEAP anytime before July 1st, 1985. Eligibility: all soldiers entered in the active duty after 31st of December 1976 and before the July 1st, 1985 was eligible for the Veteran Era GI Bill and served in the continuous period of for more than 180 days unless released and discharged because of the service connected to disability, separated the active duty under the conditions other than dishonorable, contributed money to Veterans Affairs for policy with the active duty completed. The veteran completed 24 continuous months of active duty, then originally enlisted after the 7th September 1980. The requirement does not apply to the veteran separated the active duty under the early out of the 3 months unless the hardship discharge for the disability incurred with the aggregated in the line of duty. Have the service-connected disability entered the active duty after the October 16th October 1981. The previous completed continuous period of at least 24 active duty separated for such period of an early out of separation of 3 months or less. The soldiers can use the VEAP benefits while active duty if they entered the active duty after 31st of December 1976 before July 1st, 1985, having not eligible for the Veteran Era GI Bill served in continuous period for more than 180 days unless released discharged before service-connected disability completed. Either enlisted soldiers first obligated with the active duty. This number of the years initially obligated with the enlistment contract termination of enlistment re-enlistment does not necessarily fulfill the obligation. As example, for the 4-year enlistment re-enlistment of the 42 months obligated period after the first 6 months of the re-enlistment period of the 6 years of active duty, whichever period is less. The commissioned officer initially obligated before period of the active duty for enlistment, the U.S. Military Academy graduate completing 5 years to qualify the in-service use of the benefits officer receiving the commission for the reserve officer training courses of having 3 or 4 years obligated with the active duty officer's candidate school officer has a 3-year period of active duty before the in-service benefits can be used. Warrant officer for the most part, the warrant officers complete with the enlistment have, however, in the case of the warrant officer can aim into the service of civilian life through the warrant officer candidate school, the personal service center, and can advise the counselor to regard the initial obligated term of the service. For instance, the flight program, the VEAP carried out the obligation 48 months of the 40 of the active duty following completion of the training, contributed to the VEAP made into 30 months of the contribution equivalent training through the lump sum of payment of having an active role going to the education savings allotment or the ED Education Savings Allotment ED Save as using the Department of Defense 2558 authorization start to stop and change an allotment. 4.3 during the eligibility benefits extended for 10 years from the date of the last discharge or release of active duty. 4 the extension of the eligibility veteran soldiers may receive the extension of the eligibility period on the physical mental disability prevented the initiating completing with the chosen program of education. The disability cannot be the result of their willful misconduct. Extension may be granted for the length of the time the disability prevented with the initiation completing of the program. Applicants must apply for the nearest Veterans Affairs office for extension. 4.5 the enrollment necessary for the establishment of eligibility soldiers must have enrolled in during January 1st, 1977 through the June 30th, 1985. Soldiers must have eligible to enroll the 30th June 1985 enrolled during the special enrollment period of the period 29 October 1986 through the 31st 1987. The 4th, the participation enlistment. The participation of Veteran Affairs program is done by the monthly contribution in the educational savings, with the monthly contribution are made to the Veteran Affairs program account for the following provisions. The soldier participating in Veteran Affairs program, Veterans Education Affairs Program authorizes monthly deduction from their pay. Monthly deduction may not be less than 25, no more than 100. The amount of the deduction must not be divisible by 5. The following lump sum provision apply. The payments may be corrected for the past or the present months only. Additional payments may be corrected for any month in the contribution allotment was made. The combined total of only one of the months must not exceed 100. Payments may not be reused. The recredit month of which the soldier has received a refund, a monthly or lump sum contributions combination of monthly lump sum and the authorized maximum $100 per month, and the total contribution of the soldier monthly lump sum will not exceed $2,700. Each dollar contributed with the soldier will match with the $2 contributed with the Army. The maximum total enlistment as follows. $7,200 for the 2-year obligation, $8,100 for the obligation of 3 or more years, plus the accrued pay or benefits. See Chapter 5 and 6 benefits. The table 4.1 as follows. The participant enlisted the maximum number of the monthly payments of the equivalent in part-time training, the number of the month of the contributing the Veteran Affairs Education Affairs Program, 36 months, whichever is less. The monthly dollar amount of the full training will determine the dividend total entitlements, the number of the month that it contributed to the Veteran Affairs Education Affairs Program, 36 months, whichever less. Payment of the eligible soldiers will draw benefits continuing the contribution of Veteran Education Affairs Program. Funding will be initially based on the amount of entitlements available to the first benefit check is computed. 4.7. The suspension of the soldiers' contribution. Soldiers may suspend the contributions to the Veteran Education Program, Veterans Education Affairs Program. The account will, without penalty, suspension does not result in the refund of the soldier. The following provisions apply. The soldier may suspend contribution for a reason for at least 12 consecutive months of contribution. A soldier must stop allotment for the local FAO to suspend the contribution of the Veteran Educational Affairs Program. Suspending accounts with the reopen starting allotment for the local FAO and the use of the lump sum payment using the DoD Form 1131 cash collection voucher. 4.8. Disenrollment refund soldier disenrollment vocational education Veterans Education Affairs Program, stopping the education save allotment, withdrawing the contribution of this account. This enrolls the forfeiting of all accrued entitlements except for the refund of the contribution. The VA form of the 245281 application refund educational contributions will be used to disenroll the VEAP disenrollment follows the same provision as the suspension of the paragraph 4.7 of the contributions. Soldiers must complete the VA form 245281 forward to the local FAO certification allotment statement. Stop the FAO for the forward VA form 24-5281 for the nearest VARAO. The veteran should complete the fund refund application forward to directly nearest the VA soldiers whose disenrollment re-payment anytime the active duty during subsequent enlistment and re-enlistment. Our soldiers' veteran disenrollment withdrawal of the contribution lowers the eligibility VEAP corresponding with the Army ACF, the eligible Army College Fund. The Army College Fund eligible active duty was enrolled with the Veteran Educational Affairs Program during the initial enlistment. Subsequent with the withdrawal of their educational program contribution with the reinstatement of the Army College Fund, and eligible for the re-enrollment of Veteran Affairs Education Program through the lump sum method before they leaving active duty. Soldiers must ensure that the first enlistment is credited to the lump sum payment as a statement reflecting the credit of the initial enlistment. It must appear to the remarks section 8 of Department of Finance Form 1131 during assumption the allotments using the DA Form 1341 with the automatically credit new deposit initial enlistment. Veterans will disenroll in the Veteran Educational Affairs Program unless this active duty soldier cannot reinstate the eligibility. Veterans Affairs not active, not the unreasonable refunding soldiers' personal Veteran Affairs Program. Requesting the refund may be directed to the nearest VARO. The VEAP disenrollment results in the loss of educational benefits, therefore imperative to the local Army Educational Center Council soldiers completing the VA Form 245281. 4.9. Authorized training, traditional instruction or coursework, apprenticeship on the job, corresponding coursework, vocational training, flight, training, no permitted after 30th, 19 December 1981. 410 application procedures application providing the following: the VA Form 22 1990, DO Department of Defense Form 214 of the Veterans application applying for the assistance in the United States, sending the application to the Veteran Affairs Resource Office of State with the educational institution located outside of the United States, sending the application to the VA Regional Office 941 North Capitol Street, Northeast Washington, D.C. 20421, outside the United States Army, attending the American schools overseas, installation, submitting the application through the school, the Veterans Affairs Resource Office nearest the stateside campus will process. Chapter 5 Army College Fund for the fiscal year of 82 and 80 for fiscal years 82 through 85.